In the heart of the jungle, where sunlight barely touches the ground, something stirs. The air is heavy, the silence is alive, and you are not the only one breathing, because here, the anacondas hunt without making a sound. Mia had always dreamed of exploring the wild, and when she heard a rumor about a hidden waterfall deep in the Amazon jungle, she knew she had to see it with her own eyes. The morning air was damp as she set off, her backpack filled with a water bottle, flashlight, camera, and a small first aid kit. The trail was narrow, barely visible beneath thick layers of fallen leaves, and the towering trees above blocked most of the sunlight, letting only thin golden beams filter through. The deeper she walked, the more the sounds of the outside world faded away, replaced by the distant calls of exotic birds and the soft buzz of insects. She felt a mix of excitement and unease, her footsteps crunching softly on the damp forest floor. Vines hung low, brushing her shoulders, and every step seemed to take her further into a world untouched by people. After nearly an hour of walking, she noticed that change the birdsong stopped, and even the buzzing of insects went silent. The air felt heavier, almost as if the jungle itself was holding its breath. Mia slowed her pace, scanning the shadows between the thick tree trunks. The smell of wet soil was strong, mixed with the faint, musky scent of something unfamiliar. She brushed away a hanging vine and stepped into a small clearing where the ground looked disturbed, as if something massive had passed through recently. A faint rustle made her turn her head sharply, but all she saw was a thick, dark branch lying in the leaves. She almost laughed at herself for feeling jumpy, but deep down, a strange feeling lingered. This jungle was watching her. Mia tightened her grip on the straps of her backpack and continued along the path. Her steps slower now, each one placed carefully on the damp earth. The air was so still it felt unnatural, the silence pressing in from all sides. She couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. Then, in the corner of her eye, something caught her attention. A thick, dark shape stretched across the forest floor, blending perfectly with the fallen leaves and roots. She froze. It wasn't a branch. The realization struck like a jolt of electricity. It was the coiled body of an enormous anaconda, its dull green and brown scales patterned like the forest itself. Its head was slightly raised, golden eyes locked on her, unblinking, its tongue flicking in and out as if tasting her scent in the air. Mia's heart pounded, but she didn't dare move too quickly. Slowly, she stepped back, but before she could take another breath, she noticed movement above her. A long, slender snake was sliding down a vine, its smooth body glistening in the dim light. Her chest tightened. There wasn't just one. She scanned the trees and the ground and realized that shapes she had thought were roots, vines, or fallen logs were actually more snakes. Lying still, camouflaged by the forest, it was as if the jungle had come alive, every shadow holding a predator's gaze. She could hear the slow, deliberate sound of scales brushing against leaves. The snakes weren't striking yet, but they were shifting, adjusting, circling her, in a way that made her feel like prey. Her throat was dry, and her mind screamed at her to run, but her body remained frozen, caught between terror and disbelief. Mia's breath came in short, panicked bursts as the circle of snakes seemed to close in. The largest anaconda uncoiled with a slow, terrifying grace, its body gliding silently over the wet ground, muscles rippling beneath its patterned scales. The smaller snakes shifted in the shadows, their eyes glinting in the dim light like scattered drops of gold. A low rustle swept through the jungle, the sound of dry leaves and sliding scales moving in unison, and Mia knew she couldn't stand there any longer. Her legs burst into motion, pushing her through thick vines and tangled roots, her boots sinking into mud with every step. The jungle blurred past her, flashes of green and brown as branches scratched her arms and face. Behind her the sound of pursuit was steady, no frantic crashing, just a relentless, measured slither that told her the snakes were not chasing blindly. They were hurting her. The distant roar of water grew louder, and hope sparked in her chest. She broke through a curtain of vines and stumbled into the open, standing at the edge of a cliff where a waterfall thundered into a deep pool far below. The mist cooled her face, but she could hear them coming, their bodies sliding over rocks and roots. She turned, and there it was, the massive anaconda, head raised, eyes locked on hers, tongue flicking slowly. The silence between them was deafening. Mia's mind raced. There was nowhere left to go but down. She took one last breath, the cool spray of the waterfall on her skin, and stepped backward into the rushing water. The world became a blur of white and noise. When she surfaced, gasping, the jungle above was hidden by mist, and somewhere in that green, silent world, the snakes were still waiting.